Let's start with some breaking inputs which are just coming in, where the South Korean media reports have been quoting the North Korean foreign minister as saying that the country may in fact be planning to test a hydrogen bomb in the Pacific. The South Korea's Yonhap News has reported the potential test of the most powerful detonation of a hydrogen bomb would be one possible highest level action against the United States. Now, this is according to a South Korean media agency which has said that North Korea may in fact be planning to test a hydrogen bomb in the Pacific. Remember, on the 3rd of September, North Korea for the very first time in its 6th attempt had successfully carried out a thermonuclear test, which is essentially a hydrogen bomb which uses the process of atomic fission to go forth and cause an explosion. Now, this may be a further attempt at escalation after the United States slapped North Korea with a fresh round of crippling sanctions. And for more on this, we are joined in by my colleague Ramesh Ramachandran. Ramesh, this is a report which has come forth that North Korea is planning to test yet another hydrogen bomb. It appears that Pyongyang is not willing to back down against the sanctions which are being imposed by the United States.
Indeed. Good morning, Mohammed. That seems to be the message being sent out by Pyongyang. Remember, in the last several hours, there have been two developments. One, as you mentioned, the North Korean Foreign Minister, Ring Yong-ho, telling reporters on the margins of the UN General Assembly in New York that Pyongyang may consider a second hydrogen bomb test, this time in the Pacific Ocean. And also, we've seen Washington announce a new set of sanctions by the Trump administration, targeting this time American people, companies or banks financing or facilitating trade with North Korea. So this may not stop North Korea's ballistic missile and nuclear program, but it is considered that this might slow down eventually their programs. With that said, Kim Jong-un, for his part, has consistently been arguing for more ballistic missile and nuclear tests. And most recently, we saw him describe Trump as a deranged man and call for, giving U.S. a pathetic reply.
Absolutely. And considering the language that we've been hearing from both sides, we heard Trump describe Kim Jong-un as the rocket man, and now Kim Jong-un has responded by calling Trump a deranged man. Where do we see this going forward, Ramesh? I mean, considering the sort of, extremely volatile situation which is playing out on the Korean Peninsula, can we expect any sort of a resolution, or is it that both sides are now caught up in an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation, and this is a situation which is looking extremely difficult to resolve?
Well, clearly, Mohammed, if you look at the balance of power or the dynamic obtaining within the UN Security Council, we have China and Russia, both veto-wielding members, who are arguing against the U.S. position. Both Russia and China argue that sanctions are futile and that dialogue is the only way forward. Now, on the other hand, we see U.S. and its allies in the UN Security Council call for tougher sanctions, tougher messaging against Pyongyang in an effort to scale down or roll back or even freeze its nuclear and ballistic missile program. So that's where things stand at the moment. But as Trump said in his speech, the debut speech at the UNGA, he says Washington will totally destroy North Korea if the U.S. is forced to defend itself or its allies. And I think the immediate provocation could be any attempt on the part of North Korea to target either the U.S. mainland or any of the American territories, especially the Western Pacific, namely the island of Guam. So at the moment, it's very delicately poised. Although the U.S. has announced new set of sanctions, it remains to be seen how effective these prove to be in the long run.
Absolutely. And also, Ramesh, this time, North Korea has said that it intends to test the hydrogen bomb in the Pacific. Looking at the geographical location, stating that it intends to test the hydrogen bomb in the Pacific. What does this signify?
Well, clearly, Mohammed, on the face of it, all the nuclear tests that have been conducted so far, the 6th nuclear test, including the one on the September 3rd, have all been conducted on the North Korean mainland, on land. This might be the first time they might try a nuclear test in the waters off the coast of North Korea. Remember, So far, they've conducted 2 intercontinental ballistic missile tests, 2 of them targeting the American territory of Guam, and 2 more targeting which flew over the territory of Japan. So clearly, when he talks about the Pacific Ocean and testing a nuclear bomb in the waters off the coast of North Korea, clearly the threat to Guam cannot be undermined any further.
Absolutely indeed, Ramesh. We will have to leave it up. Thank you very much indeed for joining us with your inputs, and we'll of course keep coming back to you as the story unfolds.